to actually already this primary season and the success of both Clinton and Obama have done wonders for America's standing in the world, in that if in 2004, the distinction people made between, remember people used to make that distinction between the American people and the president, and then 2004, they blurred the distinction and they said, well, okay, if we reelected this, then somehow we're endorsing these policies. Well, what the success of Senator Clinton and Senator Obama have done, I think, is awakened that power of discernment in people. And as we go forward, though, to have a president who can bypass governments that aren't themselves ready to be injecting resources into the UN or leave aside the institutional manifestation, just tackling these problems, to have a president who says to Canada about or Germany about Afghanistan, what, it's not in, you really don't want to be a part of keeping the Taliban from assassinating women in stadiums? You don't want to be a part of that? To have that conversation to go down and then hope that something else can go up? I think that could be amazing.
Well, there's a big agenda,
hope.
Clearly, and
Yeah.
I know our questioners are eager to get at you so that they can continue the dialogue. Please.
Thanks for the segue to my question.
And if you could just identify yourself.
Jack Gillis. I'm wondering if you comment on the malign effect of domestic political pandering. And I'm not just talking about America, although we've got Ireland, Israel, Cuba. It seems to me Putin's doing it. He's pandering to his domestic political concerns with Serbia and stuff like that. Isn't that a problem, not just for us, but for other countries?
Well, I think let me broaden it a little bit. I think you're onto a deep and important. A, yes, of course, it's a problem. B, though, I think the problem in the 21st century is that basically there are now two audiences for every message. I say two. I mean, there are a million audiences for every message. But specifically, there's the pandering, or there's the domestic, there's the play to the gallery, play to the peanut gallery at home. And then there's the fact that that peanut gallery isn't the only recipient of that message. So the message is broadcast directly, to use your Putin example, to Belgrade. And people who burn down embassies on the basis of that pandering message. They will soon be burning down people, and have, in fact, burned people in the course of. So I think that, again, it's an adjustment that our leaders in this country haven't made, and that, I mean, a lot of people are reckless. They just don't care about anything other than the sources of their own power. But when one thinks, for instance, about what would be really useful in the restoration of American standing in the world, or useful in signaling a real rupture with some of the policies that have gone so badly wrong these last 7 years, would be some kind of Willy Brandtian gesture of humility. You know, that would go a long way internationally, right? Some kind of reckoning, public reckoning, apology, whatever. I don't know what it is, and there are a lot of different models one can use.
Although one should take note that all three presidential candidates, including John McCain, have called for the closing of Guantanamo.
Right. So there's that, and you know, there are the things that you can do to undo what has been done. But I guess I would just say, if you didn't have any domestic constituency to worry about, wouldn't there be something else you would do? Wouldn't you go further? Wouldn't you actually go back and just say, I'm so, you know, do over, please? We just
truth commissions are
you know, something.
Useful.
But the reason I mention this is just, I mean, even the fact that we go immediately toward what will actually happen. We'll close Guantanamo, somehow deal with the detainees. I mean, which is its own incredible legal and logistic and moral challenge. We will, hopefully, the next president, any one of them, will renounce torture. We will stop having debates about whether waterboarding is or isn't a no-brainer. And all of that will be great. That will be deeds that the people around the world will look to. But there's a domestic check on very grand global gestures, or seen to be. And I think in this globalized world where every thing that the American president said is broadcast instantly on Al Jazeera, and it obviously is going to be heard in a very different way. And of course, in our case, we're not tuning in to quite the same extent to other people's statements and other people's broadcasts. So one interesting question will be, in the 21st century, as the world grows a little more multipolar, where there are other sources of economic power and so forth, will we become also more plugged into other people's pandering, as you put it, or other people's politics, and react accordingly? But I think that there's the fact of pandering, and then there's the effect, on real lives, and the kind of stoking and the emboldening that mere words can have on other people's behavior that again, I don't think we've recalibrated. We're used to just being able to do what we need for our own power. I mean, I'm speaking as if you're a leader, that you do what you do for yourself, and then now it just goes right to other people. I mean, he could have stoked Russian nationalism without also making the Serbs feel that they had a legitimate case. But in an era where the messages go right to the Serbian people, that's just not the case. The effect is linear.